Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's brand new episode of The Evil Shemps. I am, of course, Pete the Pope, and with me, as always, is my good friend Spaz, also my personal butt
Hi.
slave. Also, my personal butt slave. So, tonight is a very big episode for us. We're really excited for this one. Sorry we're a little late. I know we said we'd do this sooner, but life happens. I was sick for a little bit. But nevertheless, we are here tonight, and what better way to end your Halloween weekend than with us, the Evil Shemps? So, with all that being said, I'm just going to play a little intro to get you all in the mood for tonight's main topic, and then Spaz and I are going to jump right on in. So, here we go.
Hello, I'm Clive Barker, the writer and director of Nightbreed. Media Home Entertainment have kindly given me a few minutes to introduce the world of the breed to you, and I never turn down an invitation to talk about the dark. I've always loved monsters. I think there's a corner of all of us that envies their powers, that would love to live forever, or to fly, or to change shape at will. So, when I came to make a movie about monsters, I wanted to create a world we'd feel strangely at home in. I've called it Midian, an underground city peopled with creatures from our darkest fantasies. Things that feed on blood, things that avoid the light of day, things repulsive and fascinating. Forbidden souls, hiding from their cruelest enemy, man. In making Midian a reality, I've had the genius of some great creators at my side. The special effects people of Image Animation, who designed the terrors of the Hellraiser movies for me. Danny Elfman, whose magnificent scores you'll remember from Beetlejuice and Batman. And a wonderful collection of actors, one of whom may come as a surprise to you. David Cronenberg, who plays Dr. Decker in Nightbreed, is the director of such horror classics as Scanners, The Fly, and Dead Ringers. I asked him to join the cast, and he delighted me by agreeing, bringing his own subtle style of chill to our story. All of us, behind the camera and in front, had the same intention, to make Nightbreed a film like no other, flipping all the conventions of the horror movie, plunging you into a world of insanity and miracles, where dead men can be heroes and monsters beautiful, where the only place of refuge is the most forbidden place on earth, Midian, the home of the Nightbreed. I hope the breed will remain with you, as they remain with me. After all, we all need a few friends to get us through the night.
Do you know what's really fun?
Stupid ads, but man, what a great intro.
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but the ending to that intro always seems to bring a subtle
My
tear to my
all-time
eye.
my all-time favorite introduction to a movie.
Yeah. Clive Barker just has such a way
I
with words and has such a presence to draw
yeah,
you in.
I missed that on the DVDs. I wish they would have added that, like in the special features or whatever, his introduction to the Nightbreed.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Even though his opinion over the years has changed about the original theatrical cut of the movie,
Right.
his opinion has changed. His isn't as vocal. Maybe because he was younger then, and that was one of his first movies.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the film he did after he made Hellraiser. The first
Yeah,
Hellraiser. Yeah. Um
I think he
and
did Rawhead Rex, and then he did.
well, he produced it. He didn't direct Rawhead Rex.
No,
He
no,
yeah, he
but
just
I think that
produced it.
was the first one of his
Yeah.
books that was adapted. Is
Yeah.
Rawhead Rex, I think.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. Um yeah, and I guess we should start with I kind of want to discuss a little bit about like what this movie means to us.
Oh yeah,
Um,
go for it.
you know, this movie I discovered it when I was a teenager. And I already knew about obviously I was already a fan of Clive Barker. I have read a lot of his books, seen Hellraiser and and all of that. I don't think I had read Cabal up until that point. It was really that moved me that drew me to read to read Cabal, and it is such an engrossing story. The characters are all unique and interesting in their own right, and it's a huge ensemble of characters. And when you got a writer juggling all these different characters, sometimes they struggle with them, but Clive just does it with ease, and he creates this brilliant mythology within the story that I love seeing expanded upon, because after the movie, they did the comic book series where he expanded more on the Nightbreed lore, and there's a ton to explore there. And this movie came to me in a time in my life where I was having particularly hard time, and I don't know. To me, this movie, it's kind of telling you, like, it's okay to be a monster. You know, you don't
Yep.
have to conform yourself to societal norms, or you don't have to put up any airs. You don't have to wear a mask. Just be who you are. And of course there's something really beautiful about that, and the way this story goes about bringing that message is fucking brilliant. Just brilliant. Spaz, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, so high school was really, really hard for me. For those who don't know, I have severe dyslexia. So I got put in what they called LSC, tender loving care units. And the kids were incredibly brutal to someone that's different than them. So I had to go to these special classes, and I had to be with the English as a second language students, which was great for my self-esteem because I spoke English perfectly fine. But then I got this movie I got to see, and it's like, I'm so different than everybody at school. At least in my mindset. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was just a typical teenager. I just didn't fit in anything. I was a football player, but yet I was an outcast. I didn't have any friends at school.
Right.
Very athletic kid, but not popular. So when I got this movie where there's this underground and people forgive you there, as the tag says, or as the
Right.
movie line says, they forgive you there. And it's like, yeah, but they accept you for who you are there. And that's what I always wanted, what I always wanted. Then when I found out that it was based on a book by Clive Barker, I ended up reading the whole thing cover to cover and seeing the little changes and little tiny changes that were made for the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're small. And if only someone who studies the book and watches the movie would really even care about the little tiny things. But the little tiny things in the movie are more for people of my generation, because you were looking at it and you have someone like David Cronenberg, very unimposing
Right.
little man, and then he puts on this fucking mask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's probably one of the most terrifying individuals with this sword,
Right.
and just horribly calm, like everything a psychiatrist is supposed to be. Oh yeah. And that's how I felt about psychiatry at the time. It's like, this is an evil practice that I'm forced to go to. And I always thought that they had this underlying evil plan, and then that kind of fed on that,
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Right.
But yeah, it's just really attached to that with the outcast and with not trusting the authority figures. And maybe that's also being a teenager again. But
right. Well,
that's how I felt about it.
For me, it was more so about the internal struggle of just accepting parts of myself. Not so much wanting other people to accept me, but just accepting me accepting parts of myself. Because I never really gave a fuck what other people thought of me.
Right.
At least when I was younger. I tend to be a little more wary of that now, just because, just trying to keep up public social norms.
Right.
But
Adult. Must adult.
yeah, gotta be an adult. Fuck. But yeah, this movie really spoke to me at a time in my life where I was really having a lot of internal struggles, a lot of internal struggling, and it helped ease a lot of that for me. And after reading the book, like you said, with all the nuances and the subtleties, it just amplified it even more for me. And I adore this story. I think it's I think it's a work of art, in my opinion. The movie is one of my favorite movies, period.
I would go out on a limb and say that this is my favorite Clive Barker book. I know people are really into the Hellbound Heart, the novellas, and the books of blood with all the plethora of stories that he has, or the Great and Secret Show with all the series of magic and stuff. And I never really related as much to that. I can relate to the characters in Nightbreed, which says something about me, I guess. But it's I could see myself in Boone's shoes. You're not sure if you belong with the Nightbreed, and you're not sure if you belong with the rest of human nature or whatever. You're kind of just drifting, and you're hoping and all hope that one of these two units would just decide, hey, I'm going to pull you in.
Right. Well, I think it'd be a good time to bring up the obvious metaphorical nature of the story. It's meant to be a metaphor for the LGBTQ. Fuck, did I say that right? I don't want to offend anyone. I'm sorry. Yeah, the LGBTQ community, and which Clive Barker is a part of, and
yeah,
it could certainly be taken from that perspective, and I think that's wonderful. But to me, it just speaks to me on so many other levels as well.
Well, a lot of the people who reviewed the film for the first time says that this movie is a metaphor for anyone that is other, classified as other.
Yeah.
So, if you see yourself as different from people, that this movie is for you. This is saying for you. And it's like, yes, it's very. Why wouldn't it have gay and lesbian subplots or whatever?
Sure, yeah.
It's talking about a heterosexual couple, obviously,
Right.
but it's written by a homosexual man. So why wouldn't it have that?
Exactly. No, I love that he incorporated those elements into it as well. And I think it just makes the story more personable also. So why don't we actually start talking about the story now? You got some notes,
Okay.
Spaz. Why don't you give us
I've got
you
tons.
got some notes for us. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let's start with what we've already talked about what this is. This is a story. It was kind of a metaphor for homosexuality or the other. But the underlining I guess plot device, if you were, there is a killer whose mortal flesh is called Decker. And
Yes.
Decker is a psychiatrist. And they don't make this clear in the movie, but in the book, he has this mask, old Button Eyes, and the mask demands a blood sacrifice. Demands
Right.
it. And if he
Well, he
doesn't
talks.
fulfill,
Well, he talks to the mask in the book. The mask like talks to him in the book.
yes, it literally talks to him.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
demands the blood
yeah.
sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And when he doesn't fulfill his end of the bargain, then when he puts the mask on and the mask takes control, it's like, oh, well, since you denied me, now we are
Right.
going to go on a murder spree.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that his illness is that he needs things to make sense, the status quo. Decker needs things to be in his tight little box. You know, he even says in the movie, I cleaned up a lot of breeders along the
Yeah.
way.
I cleaned up a lot of breeders in my time.
Right.
Just
So
filth,
now,
making filth. Yeah.
yeah,
I love that line. Yeah.
and he's, I gotta get it over and over
again. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our villain. He's not even our main character. This is just our villain, who is
Right.
so interesting just on his own.
Yeah.
And our main character is a patsy.
Well, just
Is
like
a
his
guy that, yeah,
well, just his motivation as well, where he just wants to see the destruction of these people. He's basically
anything other.
he's basically the archetype of like the fascist, dictator who wants to take out all the people who are different,
Right, but he's in a position of power, which
Right.
makes him dangerous.
Well, that's
Which makes
what I'm
him
saying.
real dangerous.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like a
Mhm.
fascist dictator who's in power. He's an imposing force. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And and the way that he goes about portraying the humans as the real monsters throughout the movie, or at least with Decker, is great.
Mhm.
I think it gets a little cartoonish, but I still love it towards the end when it gets to all the townspeople like,
Right.
we gotta kill these fucking things, all like rallying up and shit.
The sons of the free.
Yeah, the sons of the free. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I get what he was doing there, and I love it, but it was just like,
Yeah.
I just get a little over the top.
And talk about a perfect time to read this fucking book.
Yeah.
To give yourself some solace. It's like, this is the perfect time. These are the fucking same people. Everything can relate back to now. This time, it's like, it's not even finite. It was written in the early 80s, maybe even the late 70s, and it's still poignant today.
Oh,
These
absolutely.
people have not changed. These people that want to control everything and make things
It's as relevant,
normal.
It's as relevant now as it ever was before, I think.
Mhm.
And that I think that goes without saying, honestly. But I mean, that's the thing about art. True art stands the test of time, no matter what.
It's sad that it's sad that the villains in this are constant in every time period. It's like they're constant. It's a constant. It's sad that they are. The other thing is
the villains are the
Right.
humans. So yeah, they're a constant, obviously, and
or I would say they're the normal. They're normal.
well, the normies,
because a lot of the Nightbreed were once human. Like
Right.
Boone was once human. The lady that turns to mist was once human as well. Decker is based on an author called Philip K. Dick.
sci-fi author. Yeah.
Right, who wrote "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep,"
That Blade Runner
which is
based
later
on.
Blade
Yeah.
Runner.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
He also wrote the story that Total Recall's based on.
right,
I forget the name.
Yeah.
Of the yeah.
Dr. Philip K. Decker.
Right.
See how
Yeah.
it's Philip K. Dix,
Yeah.
like Decker. Yeah,
Right.
you got it there.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think it was an homage because he's probably read that book and enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it has certain similarities where the humans are the ones that are trying to maintain the status quo with these androids that have a very limited life cycle.
Right. Absolutely. And it's portrayed in Nightbreed in the story that even the monsters are not all immortal. A lot of them can die pretty easily.
Right.
All
kinds of different breeds, kinds of different ways to kill them.
Yeah. Fire for some.
Fire for some.
Yeah. Well, last time I checked, fire kills most things, so I think
Yeah.
that's a pretty safe bet. Yeah. So there's that element, and I think you should tell us your next note, Spaz.
Okay, so the last thing, let's just finish up on Decker real quick. Compared the book to the movie, Decker in the book is a huge bodybuilder. He's this huge, massive, strong man. He can literally pick Boone up and get into a fight with him. That's why they made him that way. But he uses a pistol in the book. He doesn't use a gun. I mean, he uses a gun, not a knife in the books.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and he actually shoots off Boone's finger in the part in the book. So that's a big contrast. And it's like, is it because blades are more visceral? Because it's going to get a more to the point.
I have a feeling that had something to do with it. Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Boone is our hero, our main our protagonist.
Right.
So yeah, he is the scapegoat, which I find amazingly interesting. Your main character is just a scapegoat for your main villain.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, he's mentally ill. There's no, even in the movie they don't, play around with, he's misdiagnosed or whatever. He's normal. They just he's fucking ill, and
I think that's the part of the story that spoke to me like the most, especially with Boone. It was like, because I'm fucked up in the head too. Like I get it. But go ahead.
But the weakness of the character is that he is mentally unstable.
Right.
And Decker knows this, and he exploits it to the extreme.
Yeah.
The only thing that keeps Boone in semi-healthy state of mind is his girlfriend, Lori. And Lori kind of...
Well, she's his anchor. She's his anchor throughout
accepts
the story.
Him for who he is, no matter what, So that's the thing. It's like she accepts him for all of his flaws and still loves him. And she's described in the book as a woman who may not be a beauty queen, but someone definitely that can love you. That kind of personality. And I really like that aspect because it's more plausible that you'll fall in love with someone that is, just loves you for who you are than this glamour push that, you saw, this model.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
well, I think that comes from both ends, both man and woman.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think the relationship in the book is beautiful. It's probably one of my favorite romances in a story ever. No, it's one of my favorites. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I by far, because of the struggle, and he's trying for her, because they got do some foreshadowing in the book, like he just was ready to give up.
And I can relate to that a lot, to that type of just from that type of relationship.
Yeah, he was ready to just say, well, I'm nuts, maybe I should live the rest of my life in a mental ward,
But the thing also with Boone was he was never he never actually hurt anyone or did anything really violent.
No, he wasn't violent.
Yeah, he wasn't violent.
No, he was actually not violent.
Yeah.
Which was
But
he just kept having these weird hallucinations.
But of course, Decker
dreams.
saw an opportunity to exploit him and take advantage of that and be like, well, actually, you did fucking murder a bunch of people, you sick piece of shit. He's like, oh, what? Yeah, you murdered all these families. What?
Now, my wonder is because there is a tactic that is supposed to exist where you can do hypnotic suggestion.
Well, that's
but the person has to want to do it.
He hypnotizes him in the book.
Yeah, he does it.
Yeah, he doesn't do it in the movie.
He puts him under to do therapy with him, and he records the therapy, and he says to him, "These families you talked about killing, this is exactly how you killed them in your stories. Would you like to hear it? I've got it on tape."
Right.
So,
But in the
Yeah.
movie, he gives him the hallucinogens, the drugs. the
Yeah,
medication.
he tells him it's lithium,
Yeah, he tells him
but
it's
it's
lithium.
really
Yeah.
but it's and that's another thing. I don't know if people know this, but lithium is the hardcore. If you're on lithium, you've got problems. Like that's a big one. Like they thought they were going to put me on that for me, but they were like, that's for people who were thinking about putting in wards,
Yeah.
or for people that are just coming out of a ward, they'll give them lithium.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And next, after that, he ends up in the hospital after he goes out on his little drugged out stroll. Almost in the book. I think in the movie too, he tries killing himself. He tries like throwing himself
In the
in front
director's
of a
cut, yes.
yeah. He tries to kill
In,
himself.
in the director's cut, yeah. They
That's
go
right.
into that.
They put
He
that in the
he burns
director's cut.
down he burns up everything he owns.
Yeah.
And tries to like say goodbye to Lori, which he can't do. And then there's something with him hallucinating a truck, and yeah.
Well, yeah.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
but then
And you don't know if it's a hallucination, and then all of a sudden he's in the ward
Right.
healing, and they're telling him this isn't lithium. This is
yeah,
you're on a
what we
bad
call
trip.
a bad trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And at that point, he meets Narcissus
Mhm.
for the first time. Which is a great scene. I forget who the actor is who plays him in the movie. I forget his name, but he's fantastic. Did he do more stuff?
Narcissus?
Yeah, the actor who plays Narcissus. He's excellent in the movie.
Let's see. Narcissus is played by Hugh Ross.
Q Ross. I
Mhm.
can't think of anything else I've seen him in.
I looked him up. I looked him up as I was taking notes, and nothing that he was in like really showed out for me. He's done all kinds of things.
Okay. Right.
He's done all kinds of shows, but it's nothing like if I said the title, you would go, "Oh, I've seen that," or whatever. Maybe you would
Right.
if you're really into that kind of stuff, but
Sure.
nothing like jumps out at me.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. I mean, because he's fantastic in the movie.
He is.
And then after they have their encounter, he cuts his face.
Yep.
I need to show you my there's a face under this
Yeah.
face.
I also thought it was interesting the artistic direction to have him pull the sides of his head off rather than his face off, because that's what they do in the book. He pulls his face off.
Yeah, he rips his face off.
And
Yeah.
and I just, as cool as that image is of someone ripping their face off,
I like what they did
that
better in the
look,
movie.
yeah,
where it's like
he's
the skin around his
cosmetically
face is
good.
ripped off, but his face is still there. I like that look better.
Yeah, underneath the chin is also pulled off, and it's like it just looks. I don't know. It doesn't look like the average horror, monster kind of thing.
It looks.
It looks
a
cool.
unique look. Yeah, it's a cool, unique look for the character. I like that they went.
I'm sure they could have done that
as well. Yeah.
I like that. I think that's the only thing in the book that I would have liked to see him change, because I think the other look is a little bit better. For Narcissus.
Right.
But he's probably my favorite character in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's
He has all the best lines.
My favorite. Yeah, he's got all the best lines.
He has all the best lines. Yeah,
he's hilarious.
He's got all
throughout the movie. But what else? What you got next for us, Baz?
Oh, there's a reference in the movie where Boone turns to him and says, "If you touch me again, I'll rip your face off."
Yeah.
And I'm like, funny, but he's also the advocate. No, he's not the advocate. The moon face guy is the advocate.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the one who swears in Boone to be judged.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, so going back to Lori, Lori finds out that Boone burned up all his shit and disappeared and was in the hospital, and then released himself or ran away, and that the cops are looking for him. And she doesn't know what to do, so she's in this like, panic mode, trying to track him down.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he meets Narcissus, and Narcissus thinks he's one of the Nightbreed that's testing him.
Well, we were just talking. We just touched them.
Yeah.
We literally just touched on all of that.
And he's like, I have to know where it is. And
that's right. Yeah, no, I forgot to say that. He asked where Midian. Yeah, he asked Narcissus. That's right. Sorry, you're right. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
That's when he asks Narcissus, where is You know where Midian is. Just tell me. You said they sent you. It's a test.
And he's like, yes, but I need to know where it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, our hero Boone promptly leaves Narcissus bleeding to death.
Well, I mean, what was he going
to
do?
Exactly.
What was he going to do? And he walks out of the hospital room, and then he sees Decker coming down the hallway.
Right.
And that's why
and he's like,
running. And that's why he starts running.
Yep. And that slow walk by Decker, man, it's fucking classic serial killer. Like the classic horror killer. Yeah, he doesn't even, no rushing. Yes, run.
Yeah, just
run if you want to.
Yep. Yeah, no, that moment's great. And then, of course, that leads him to the graveyard, Midian. Yeah.
And while he's off adventuring, Decker goes and meets with Narcissus when he's dying.
Right.
To get all the information out of him with, I'm assuming, both horrible mass murderer tactics and psychological manipulation on top of everything.
Right.
Because he mentions later, you got me when I was at my most vulnerable, when I was feeling particularly vulnerable.
Yeah, it's later on. Yeah.
So,
well, then we should streamline this a little bit. We'll do the let's yeah. So then he goes to the graveyard. He meets first time he meets Peliquin and Moonface. I forget his name. The
Moonface guy is. I should know this by heart, but let's see. Kinski. Nicholas Vince is his name.
Okay.
He played the Chattering Teeth Cenobite in the Hellraiser series.
Oh, he played Chatterer? I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't know he played Chatterer. Okay, that's cool. Well, Doug Bradley also plays.
Yeah, he plays Lylesburg.
Yeah. So after their encounter, Peliquin, he
wants to eat him.
Boone. He wants to eat Boone. He bites him. Your meat for the beast. We mustn't. It's the law. Fuck the law.
Yep. And Kinski stops Peliquin long enough for him to get outside.
For Boone to escape.
Really quick, part in the book, the bite causes Boone to want to reach into his chest and tickle his heart, which I thought was an interesting image.
Right.
And they run right into the cops. He runs right into the cops with Decker there.
Decker there too, yeah. Decker comes up.
And
he's like,
long story short,
he's got a gun.
He gets shot to death. Yep. He gets shot to death.
Yeah,
goes to the morgue in Sheerneck.
He gets lit the fuck up. Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, they don't take any fucking chances.
He gets lit the fuck up. And of course, then that's when they bring his body to the morgue. And that's when he finally gets called to the breed.
When he becomes a Nightbreed, like Narcissus and like the lady, what's her name? Bobette's mother. Well,
I love what Bobette says to Lori at one point when she's like, some of the Nightbreed, they've gone. Some of them can survive all of that because they've gone beyond death, and that's kind of where Boone is at, And I love that incorporation of the lore where some of these creatures had passed over and gained their power through Baphomet. Yeah. What else you got, Spaz?
Yes.
Come on.
So Boone ends up getting up off the slab, and going back to Midian.
Well, refresh my memory. In the book,
hmm
does he like?
hmm
Because I know in the movie, it's like he jumps through the window, and that's kind of like he gets
They don't
taken from him.
elaborate.
So in
They
the
don't. I don't
book,
believe they. I don't remember there be a lot of elaboration
okay. So
on
is
him
it
getting out.
similar in the book? Or,
Similar, but I don't remember. I obviously there's a little more
right.
than the movie, but I don't remember
Sure.
it being imperative. Like when I'm searching my memory, I don't remember it being this big deal. He
Right.
just
Right.
waits until the gets off the slab and goes. I mean, what are they gonna do? He
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
walks out.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think he breaks out because that seems to be
Yeah.
take
It's not like he
attention.
just walks out of the
Mhm.
morgue like through the front door. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be funny. Hey, aren't you supposed to be dead? No. All right.
No, that's that other Boone guy.
Yeah. All right. Have a
Come
nice
on.
day. um, and then of course that takes us. I think at that point, then we follow Lori for a bit.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
switched to Lori's perspective and her
Right.
getting interviewed by the cops
Mm-hmm.
about him having a secret face, as Decker calls it. Everyone has a secret face. No, only you, fucktard.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You're the only sick fuck that wants to chop people up. Yeah,
Well, speak for yourself, Spaz.
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there's that whole moment, and then Lori kind of wants to go. She starts heading to Midian herself, because for
He wants
some
to
type of
see where he died.
she wants some type of closure,
Mhm.
So that's why she
And then
starts.
Decker
Yeah,
uses it to follow it because he finds out through the
and
grapevine
he starts
that
tailing
when they
her.
escaped the morgue.
Yeah, because Decker is not convinced that Boone is dead. Once
hmm
his body leaves the morgue, Decker at that point is pretty convinced that Boone is still alive. Now correct me if I'm wrong. My memory is a little fuzzy when it comes to the book. It's been a little while since I've read it. But in the book, is it does Decker know of the Nightbreed the whole time? Like even before Boone dies, or is it like something that he just
No, he
comes
doesn't.
to
Boone,
know of gradually?
Boone
Huh?
introduces him through his dreams.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So
Boone tells him about his
introduces Decker.
dreams. But
And what really pisses off the Button Eyes
yeah,
is that he says death isn't the end in Midian. And
right.
and that doesn't compute with his everything fits in a nice little box.
Right.
Decker has to have everything fit in a nice little box. Death is the end, Boone. No, it's not. In Midian, you live forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that pisses off the Mask.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love how they're two different characters. It's the same character, but it's like
Yeah. I like they kind of did that. I don't know if like Sam Raimi did it on purpose, but they kind of like do that bit in the first Spider-Man movie. I don't know if that movie he was homaging it when fucking Willem Dafoe is talking to the Green Lantern, the Green Lantern, the Green Goblin when the Green Goblin mask is talking to him. The cunning warrior that attacks neither body nor mind. We attack his heart, Norman! His heart! So I'm wondering if Sam Raimi took some inspiration from Nightbreed for that scene.
God, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you steal from Clive Barker? What is it that Stephen King always says? Always steal from the greatest. Steal from
Right.
the Bard and from any great writer. Just make it your own, because nothing is truly original under the sun. Just make it your own. And
Yeah,
Clive
exactly.
Barker is amazing. I'm sure he would be flattered to have an homage, as long as you're not blatantly ripping it off word for word. I'm sure.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I hope he would, take that as flattery and not be like, hey, he's ripping me off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next, Spaz?
This is where things get sticky, because while following Lori, he goes to the Sheer Neck where they're having a festival, and Becker puts the mask on,
right,
and massacres everybody in the hotel. Absolutely fucking everybody, and the most bloodiest way possible.
Does that happen
That
next
dude,
in the
yeah.
story?
Yep. And then he goes into the bar
Oh,
where
right,
Cheryl
right.
Ann is
Yes,
with
okay.
them, so he can,
That's right.
and he starts hitting on Cheryl Ann so he can
Mm-hmm.
get closer to
To
Lori.
Lori. Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
Yeah, because Cheryl Ann kind of becomes her travel companion at one point.
mhm.
Yeah, they meet there. Mm-hmm. Right, right.
Well, Cheryl Ann goes with her to Midian.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She becomes
Yeah,
a travel
yeah,
companion.
yeah.
That's what I just
Mm,
fucking said, Spaz.
mm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
yeah.
yeah, she's heading with her to Midian, and
Mhm.
at that point, once they get there, Decker
She
shows
lets
up.
Well, Decker, at first she lets Lori go off by herself to
Right, right.
grieve.
Yeah, yeah. And
Right,
then she
right.
sees,
And
and then
then she
Decker
stays by the
shows up,
car.
and she sees
Mhm,
Decker coming while
mhm.
she's standing by the car, and of course she's like, "Oh, hey," because he seduced her
I
and everything,
wonder,
and then he
he
fucking
gives her
murders her.
yeah, in the movie he gives her the name Curtis. I don't know if that means anything. I've I've
I'm
not
not
in any of
sure.
my research.
I don't know.
Why Curtis? Is it because that's not the most
You got me. I have
yeah,
no idea. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm just trying to think if there's an underlying meaning to that, but I guess
well,
not.
yeah. Well, anyway, moving on, Spaz. Moving on.
Okay, so yeah, Decker does his thing with the mask, puts the mask
Right.
back on, and kills Cheryl Ann.
Sure.
Uh, so that's awful. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
then leaves her for uh, Lori to find, so he can lure out Boone. Lori is nothing to him but bait.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much. Well, yeah. No, that's the whole point. That's why he takes her into the graveyard to kill her because he wants to draw Boone out. Yeah.
That's
Um.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, Boone is struggling with the other Nightbreed, saying you can't go out there.
Right, she's a natural.
She's
You're
a
not,
natural.
and
You're
that.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I won't let him butcher her. And then
Mhm,
I love that part too when he finally breaks
mhm,
up and he beats up some of the Nightbreed guards, runs
mhm,
out, and then he stops Decker right before he kills her, and he grabs him, and
mhm,
Decker stabs him in the chest. And he's like,
mhm.
"Don't you get it? Blades aren't any better than
It's a better.
bullets." Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. That. Yeah.
Oh, and then
That's
like a
they.
narcissist comes up. He's like, then he
Oh
says the
yeah.
line. Then he says the line. You took my
Mhm.
you made me give up all my secrets when I was most particularly vulnerable. I
Can I
want
have?
his
I want his eyes and his
I
mouth.
want his balls and his eyes. Unless of course you want them. I think I'll
Nah, I
pass.
think I'll pass.
uh, yeah, I
Such a
love it.
great line.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a great exchange between two characters.
right.
He's like, "I'm the monster here." That's the thing.
Yeah,
He's like, "I'm the monster here." This dude wants to cut his balls and his eyes out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's great. I love it. Well, in the story, in the book, they make it
Mhm,
a point to point out that these creatures are still monsters because in the story, you learn that they
mhm.
do actually still eat people. They just go after people
Yeah.
that won't be missed. So
Mhm.
he doesn't shy away from them still being, bloodthirsty creatures, which
Right.
I
Mhm.
love. And I love that about it.
Especially Boone. Boone has to, I think,
Yeah.
eat blood if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
And
not
flesh.
just blood. He eats flesh. Yeah. What in
Mhm.
when later on when well, I guess we'll touch on that in a little bit. Um, and so up next, what happened? Oh yeah. So after they have their altercation in the graveyard,
Mhm.
I'm trying to remember exactly where that leads off
Na-
to. Help me out here, Spaz.
Narcissus tries to keep her warm, and she
Right.
passes
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, she passes out.
And
Oh,
they
that's
take
right. And
her.
Decker gets away. Yeah, Decker gets away. That's right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Because he goes
And
back to
Lori
help
wakes up
Lori.
and saves Bobette in her beast
That's
form.
yes. Yeah, he brings Bobette
So
to
Rachel's her name. Rachel is the mother of
yeah,
Bobette.
Rachel. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She ends up, saying, "I owe you something,
Right.
so I'll tell you."
Yeah.
Mhm.
She had,
And
but I
that's
saved
what
it.
we
Yeah,
get.
that's when Lylesburg comes up too. That's when Lori first meets Lylesburg, and
Mhm.
he's like, she's like, I want to see Boone. He goes, you can't see him, now. He's one of us now. Or whatever he says. And she's like, but but I saved the child. Doesn't that mean something? I saved the child's life. Does that mean something? The child has no life to save. But if but what is hers is yours if you want it.
Mhm.
And she's like, no, I don't. Like, I'm not gonna take this mother's
I just
child.
want some answers.
Yeah, I just want some
Yeah.
answers. Yeah.
And then you get the exchange where Lylesburg says, "What is that, a threat?" And he says, "Not
Not
to you,
you,
but to
to
us."
us. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So pushing further along, yeah, we get Lori and Boone get ejected from Midian because he wants to
Right.
be with Lori,
Right. Yeah.
but he's a Nightbreed, so they're like, just take the girl and go. That is the law.
Right.
Then they end up going back to the hotel to get Lori's things, which was the biggest fucking mistake because Boone smells blood, and you get to see his first cannibalistic acts, at least in the
Right.
book.
Well, in the book, in the movie,
He takes a bite out of somebody.
Well, in the book, he's like straight up eating them, but in the movie, he just drinks some of the blood off the table. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's when the cops bust in and arrest him.
Yep. And then, he gets locked up. And then Narcissus, Rachel, and Lori band together to bust him out.
Yeah, and that's where you get introduced to
the priest. The
priest. Yeah. Who tries to talk to him, and you get introduced to the Sons of the Free and their feelings about having a cannibal in their midst.
Yeah.
And then when the doctor tells him he's dead, he's like, not lying down in my cell, walking around dead in my fucking cell.
Yeah. And that's also when we get to they break him out. Then in the move, at that point when they get him to get Lori into his cell, in the movie they make out for a moment because I think in the book before in the book before hold on, I'm getting to that. My point is, in the book, before at the beginning of the book, before Boone becomes a Nightbreed, I think it's expressed that he can't sexually perform in the book. But once he becomes a Nightbreed, he's able to get his fuck on. And when they first get into prison, him and Lori just straight up in the book, they just start straight up fucking. And that's a great part in the book too. Cause it's not just a visceral he does get very descriptive with the book, but I mean it's also a very beautiful moment because it's something that he wasn't able to do with her before, and they're able to share that now, and it's a really beautiful moment in my opinion. But of course in the movie they just have him they just make out for a minute. And then Narcissus opens the door. No time for hoochie coochie. Which I get, why they didn't do that in the movie. Because they were probably, it would take mostly because it would take up more runtime. And the movie was already drastically cut down from its original. Directors from Clive Barker's original vision of what he wanted to do, but we'll get on that in a little bit.
So secondary villain Eicherman, the police captain Eicherman, who thinks that all the world's problems could be solved if all the world leaders sat down and took a dump together.
Yeah.
I think that's very weird about Clive Barker, where he can put things that are like, that's a gross, but that makes sense,
Right. Yeah. And then after that, we have after that, then the Sons of the Free start forming together. I think that's when
Yep.
we pick up with them getting like all the weapons and
And
all their
Decker,
shit. Yeah.
yeah, Decker kind of spurring
Oh,
them on with their racistness and their holy shit, they're
right.
horrible people.
Because he doesn't care about any of their
Uh-huh.
motivations. He just wants to
Mm-hmm.
kill the Nightbreed. He doesn't care
Uh-huh.
about any underlining like racist bullshit. He's just like, yeah, I'm death, plain and simple. You know. Oh, go ahead, Spaz.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So for Captain Igerman, little fun fact, he is Merv Griffin's cousin.
Really? Huh, that's interesting.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know that either, and I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So so they all go with their bazookas.
Like, dude, they have fucking like they got everything. They got like claymores, bazookas, fucking like
And
any
I
type of
want to
fucking
know
gun you can think of, flamethrowers.
This movie is set in fucking Canada. Where the hell are these guys getting this shit?
Is it Canada? I thought it was like the southern. I thought it was set in like the south. No. Oh.
No, it's set in Canada. Yeah, it's it was filmed in Bragg Creek, Alberta. But even in the book,
it's in Canada. But is it set? It's in the book.
Even
okay.
Even the book, it's in Canada.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah,
for some reason it was like the South because that's what it feels like half the time. You got all like these fucking.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
The Sons of the Free seem very rednecky to me, and I'm not sure. Do they?
Yeah, they're all acting like rednecks.
Someone can.
When they show up, like you got guys just wearing like redneck clothes and shit, just like, oh yeah, we'll kill these monsters, woo! Like,
yeah.
You know, so yeah, I always just assumed it was set like in the South, but
Right.
okay, that's interesting, yeah. So anyway, they start forming everything, and now there's another great little scene during that moment too, where like when they're like pulling all the stuff out of the armory, and then one of the cops like holds the garrote wire, and the cop like he brings up brings up a gun to hand to Decker. Oh, he shows like a gun to Decker, and Decker's just like, that's very nice. Yes.
Yeah,
that's great.
I wouldn't know what to do with it. Yeah,
I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, so that's another nod to like I guess the difference between him in the movie and him in the book. Yeah. So and then after that, the Nightbreed all start heading back to Midian to band together to try to put up a fight.
Yeah, and Lylesburg wants them to run.
Right.
Because the Sons of the Free are coming. It doesn't sound like they're very happy to have them in their graveyard.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, so the debate becomes, about who to follow. Should you follow Boone or should you follow Lylesburg?
Right.
That's basically the tension between the main tension while the Sons of the Free are massing this army outside the gates of the graveyard.
Right. Yeah, and they Boone gives that whole speech. Like we gotta fight. We gotta we gotta fight for our home. We gotta fight for your children, because they all got kids there too. And they're really like, even in the movie, I mean, I think he put in the. Okay, so in the book, he really pushes the whole like the humans really are the true monsters in this story.
Yes,
really hard.
Doesn't shy away from it at all.
No, not at all. And he also, I think, portrays that really well in the movie. And once we get to the ending, it feels a little more like comic booky, which I like. I do like that it's like all these monsters teaming up to fight the human threat. I loved how that those conventions are switched around, and that's really
They also have that scene in when the battle starts, before they release the berserkers to just decimate everything.
Right.
They have this scene where they're going to kill the children You remember that?
Yes, yeah.
And Rachel reaches through that guy,
Through his chest.
you know, reaches through his chest. Yeah, to save the children, and it's like
Right.
that one stuck with me. That image of her saving the children, because Rachel is so sweet throughout the whole movie, and you just she has the kiss of death, but even the kiss of death in the movie is not that horrible. She just kisses him and he drops. This is like visceral. She's pushing her hand through this dude.
Well, he was gonna
I love that
murder
scene.
her child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
hope that she'd get kind of visceral,
Yeah. But fun fact, because I made a note, because your favorite Hellraiser is 2, right?
Yeah.
Did you know the girl that plays Rachel was Tiffany's mother in Hellraiser 2?
Oh,
Hellbound.
yeah. Now that you said that, I see it now in my head. Yeah, when the flashbacks in Hellraiser.
When I saw that, I'm like, he's got to know this. He's got to know.
No, yeah. Now that you said that, I remember it clear. Like it hit me. Like, oh yeah, that's right. That is her. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And the priest's name, the one that goes and loses his faith because he sees Baphomet, is his name is Ashbury, the Father Ashbury.
Right.
Who's played by Malcolm Smith, who I think is a pretty good actor as well.
Well, he originally goes there with the Sons of the Free, but once he sees what they're doing, and to the extent that they're doing it, he's just like, I can't let this continue. You're killing. He
stands
children.
up to Eicherman.
Yeah,
he stands up to fucking Eicherman, the Nazi poster child.
Yeah, you're killing children. Yeah. But of course, he's still pretty weak. And at that point, he wants to see their god. He wants to see Baphomet. He even says to Boom, "Please, I have to see him."
Yeah. So he goes down into to see the tabernacle.
Yeah, where they keep Baphomet. Yeah.
And Baphomet literally tells him, "You've destroyed me. Now you have to find me a new home and find me again. And your name is no longer Boone. It's Cabal.
You've destroyed our refuge. This was inevitable. No home is forever." Yeah.
Yeah, and then once he gets branded, I guess not branded, but dubbed Cabal, is when he's like, let's release the Berserkers.
Yeah. Well, originally, Lylesburg goes down there to let them out, but then he gets killed, and then the guy that kills Lylesburg gets killed by that weird like
manta ray
floating thing. I don't know what that was. That thing in the book? I don't remember.
No, okay. I don't remember that in the book at all. If it was, I don't remember it at all. I think I would remember it in the book, but yeah.
I mean, whatever. It works. Fine, sure. And then Boone comes up and sees Lylesburg dead. I love that shot too, where how the key is on the chain on his neck and he's still hanging off of it, and Boone has a moment of reverence. He's like, oh yeah, and he's like, oh fuck, and then gently takes it off of his neck and lets him down, and that's when you see the eyes open up on his face, because throughout the whole movie he has those slits on his cheeks and you don't know what they are, but then you see
they're bleeding.
Yeah, they're bleeding. Yeah, and you see the eyes on his face opening up at the end. I thought that was great too.
What's funny is they make a reference to that in the comic books. He's supposed to be able to see the future.
Right.
He's one of the few of Nightbreed that can see the future. And there's another one, that's the black stone-faced girl. She can only see the past. She can't see present or the. Yeah, it's weird. Right. But yeah, she's kind of like the exact opposite of Lyle's one. But,
okay.
So when all of his eyes are open, he can see the future.
Sorry, go ahead.
When all of his eyes are open, he can see the future.
Right. Well, they don't really mention that. That's mostly in the comics. Yeah, then the comic book. They don't mention that in the movie.
Well, in the book.
Oh, did they mention
In the
that
book, in the book, he's nothing but he's invisible. He's completely invisible, and when he smokes, the smoke he takes into his lungs shows his face and his mouth and
Oh,
stuff, and his eyes glow, and that's it.
right,
And it's really badass. I know why they had to change that because
right.
holy shit, that
Yeah, yeah.
would be a bitch to shoot.
Especially back then. Yeah, like now you could
Mhm.
probably pull that off pretty well, like
Easy,
with
yeah.
some digital effects. Yeah, but back then that would have been really hard to
Hmm.
do. That's such a cool idea. Yeah, I forgot about that's
Hmm.
how Lylesburg was in the book. That's such a cool
Hmm.
concept, though. Um, seeing his face appear in the smoke as he's smoking.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but then after like basically almost the full destruction of Midian, Boone and Decker have their final
Have their
confrontation.
final conflict. Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I think it plays out almost the same in the book as in the movie, right? Almost.
He falls. Yes, he falls,
Falls.
but he uses a gun in the book. So
Right.
yeah,
So there's
it's
no like
not the same.
it's
Mhm.
not he doesn't go like one last dance and like put when he
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
that's something that was cool that they made for the
I
movie. But
love
yeah,
I'm honestly
that's
glad they
cool.
changed that
Yeah,
in the movie because that's such a great moment when he
I love
shoves a
the.
giant knife through Boone's chest, but obviously
Is it
Boone
the Ace of Hearts that he has because he
yeah, I
falls in the
think
poker
it's Ace
table?
of Hearts that he
Is it
gets
Ace of
stuck to
Hearts?
his chest.
And he
Yeah.
like takes it off and he's like,
Yeah,
pull the knife out.
yeah.
Poor Laurie's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. But yeah, he's got like the blade sticking out of his chest, and he fucking and like Decker's about to fall, and he goes, "No, wait!" And he grabs him, pulls the mask off, and he goes, "One last dance," and pushes him into the knife, his chest into the knife too. I love that part. And yeah, just
Yeah,
pushes him down.
I love the whole movie, man. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything about the movie that I don't like. I even love the cheesy claymation. That's the shit right
Oh
there.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess now well, hold on. I guess now, like, yeah, he kills Decker. Midian's destroyed. The Sons of the Free are, a lot of them are killed, and the rest, I guess, run off. Or
Yeah, they
whatever.
run off or are murdered
Yeah.
by the berserkers.
Yeah, murdered by the berserkers. Right. And all the surviving monsters. I think they all gather at a barn, like an abandoned barn somewhere.
Yeah,
And
they have pieces of Baphomet wrapped up in towels, and
right.
they make more reference to that in the book that they actually transport Baphomet with them.
Yeah. That they're able to move him. Well, they even say that in the movie. Like Boone goes to Lylesburg. Can Baphomet be moved? Yes, it can be done. It must be done. Yeah. And then then we see Laurie and Boone meet. After everything, after the destruction of Midian and everything. Yeah, once the smoke clears, we finally see Boone and Laurie meet again, and in that moment, he's telling Laurie, he's trying to explain to her, I'm responsible for this. I need to help them. I'm part of this now, and and I need to make up for what I've done. And so, like at the end, it's like this is the love of his life, but at the same time, he feels obligated to help these people that
She's a
accepted him.
natural.
Well, not just
She's a natural
well,
too.
yeah, she's a natural, but also I feel like it's also because he just feels a strong sense of obligation to help these people that accepted him in.
Totally.
Even after, because he's, like you said, he's responsible for the destruction of Midian, so it's only fair that he helps them rebuild, and obviously Laurie's very upset at that, because she's like, he's like, she can't go with him because she's she's one of the normals, and now in the book. Does she? What does she do?
She stabs herself.
She does stab herself,
but
I
don't know if this was with Decker. The thing that I don't remember
in the movie she takes one of
is if
Decker's
it's
knives in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if she uses in the book. I think it's some blade. I don't know what blade she uses. but she kills herself.
Right, she stabs
Yeah.
herself, and well, Boone starts walking away, like starts like
Mhm.
because she just gets mad and tells him to just leave, and
Mhm.
he just accepts it and starts walking away.
She even
And-
says, "Hey, Boone," as he's
Yeah,
down the hill.
yeah, and she goes, "Hey, Boone," and he looks back, and she fucking takes the knife and stabs herself in the chest, and he's like,
Yeah.
"No," and he runs up, and he's like, "Why'd you do that?" And they have that whole
Because you have no choice now. You
Yeah.
have no choice. You better bite me if you want to do something about it.
yeah,
What's funny is I don't know if it's the first sentence in the book, but in the first chapter or paragraph, there's the question. Boone says, "The one lie that every lover speaks is I'll never leave you,"
right,
and that's how it, like, they introduce the two characters. Is
Yeah.
that's the one lie that they both know is And when she comes back to life after Boone bites her, she says to him, "I'll never leave you."
right.
So you get full circle from the beginning of the book to the end. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
no, it's
very
it's
romantic. Yeah.
it's a beautifully romantic piece of synergy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Even though it's really
absolutely.
fucking twisted.
Yeah, but hey, that's the best in my opinion. That's the best
Yeah.
kind of love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's a really, in my opinion, I think it's a beautiful moment to end the story on, because I think that emphasizes that in that moment, Lori is showing she's mad. Of course, she's mad at him. She's angry at him, but she shows him that in that moment as well, like, I fully accept you. So make me like you, because I want to.
Because she knows he won't
truly-
do it because he loves her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why he doesn't do it at first. Like, she had to force him to do it by
Exactly.
killing herself. Exactly. Yeah. Because he loves her and he doesn't want her to have to be like that, live that way. But yeah, she doesn't leave him. She doesn't give him much of a choice. So, but like I said, I think there's something really beautiful about that, because she's saying to him, like, I fully accept you, and
I choose your life.
yeah.
Where you go, I go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And getting a little emotional here, Spaz. We should switch things up a bit.
Yep. Okay, so let's switch back to dead body of Eicherman.
Right.
So
Yes.
one of the last scenes, we're probably telling this completely out of order, but Eicherman's dead, and the priest finds the blood of Baphomet somewhere. They don't go into explaining where he gets the shit from.
Yeah. No. Now that we're talking about the ending scene, let's touch on the differences here for a moment on both the director's cut ending and the original theatrical ending, because they are similar
Vastly
in ways.
different.
Well, they're similar in ways, but they're vastly different. Because in the director's cut, you see him making the black altar, and you see the Nazi guy.
Eicherman?
Yeah.
Eicherman.
And he sees Eicherman coming, and he gives the priest, he gives a whole speech. He's like, I saw their God. He burned me. I want to burn him back. And
I love that line.
Yeah. And then and then it's such a badass line. And then in the director's cut, like I said, he's at the black altar. You see Decker's like charred up upper like torso body, but it's all like burnt and everything at the altar as well. And then
he has old button face put on his head.
Yeah, he has the button face mask
so that
on
means
his head.
Not only did he get the blood of Baphomet,
right,
he went down into the catacombs to get old button eyes.
Yeah.
On top of everything.
Hey, he's dedicated, man. He wants his vengeance. He's fucking dedicated. And
that's just an extra level of perseverance from this priest. It's
right.
like all these berserkers are running around. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go get the Baphomet. I'm gonna get this laundry list of shit I want to get and
Mm-hmm.
find the dead body of Igerman on top of everything.
Yeah. But then he kills Igerman. Igerman's like, please take me with you. I want to destroy them with you, or whatever.
Mhm.
And he just grabs him by the neck and he's like, fucking chokes him out and kills him.
Mhm.
And then in the theatrical cut, Igerman is not there. It's just the priest. His name, please, again, Spaz. I'm sorry.
The priest's name is Ashbury.
Yeah, Ashbury. Yeah, it's just Ashbury, and he has Decker's full. He's not burnt. Decker's just full body. It's just there, like with the buttonized mask on, like strapped to like some statue, and then there's the blood of Baphomet on the floor there, and he picks up the blood. He picks up some of the blood with his hand and sticks his hand with the blood in it in Decker's chest, where the stab wound is, and then Decker comes back to life, and he's like, ah. And I think the studio pressured Clive Barker into doing that because again, they were trying to push Decker as like this new slasher type villain.
Oh, they could have done it too. Holy shit! If David Cronenberg would have been interested, I'm sure they would have done a spinoff. Like no doubt about it.
Right. For sure. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that didn't happen because I don't know. I'm glad that I'm glad we've got the director's cut now.
Yes,
because
yes.
that took a long time.
I love the extra animation, the claymation.
Mm-hmm.
You only get like a little glimpse of it in the theatrical cut, and then you get this
Right.
whole scene in the. Yeah, I loved it. I love it. I'm a big fan of claymation.
Oh yeah, me too. Absolutely. Yeah. And
then of course Danny Elfman did the music for Nightbreed. So that on top of everything is just the movie is mythically brilliant in my opinion. It's got just so much.
It's probably
especially like the intro.
It's his most underrated score, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I love his music in Nightbreed. It's also like I love the piece he does when Laurie's when she's first exploring the catacombs.
Yeah.
Midian.
Yeah.
And
that that's really cool.
That's a great piece right there.
It ties it into her touching the piano. Oh, love it.
Yeah. No, that piece was brilliant. Honestly, it's a really underrated Danny Elfman score. Yeah, he did a great job with it. I mean, it's Danny Elfman. I mean, come on. So, yeah, and I'm trying to remember. Fuck, I can't remember what I was gonna say. I don't know. Whatever. I'm sorry. Anyway, but yeah. So again, it's a great story. Some great mythology. It might be my favorite Clive Barker. Well, it's definitely my favorite Clive Barker movie. It might even be my favorite Clive Barker story. I might say.
Mine definitely.
Yeah.
Mine definitely.
I think I'd have to say it's my favorite Clive Barker story as well.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Hellraiser and I love the Hellbound Heart.
Sure. Yeah.
But holy shit, leaps and bounds different. Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're two totally different stories, and I definitely love Nightbreed a lot more. And again, like you said though, I love Hellraiser, I love Hellbound Heart, I love all the mythology. I even read this. I haven't read the Scarlet Gospels, so yeah, I love all the Hellraiser mythology he's created, but again at the same time, like Nightbreed just I gravitate to it a lot more. It hits all the right points.
Just all the nice buttons. It's like the good. You got the feel good buttons and the oh man, that's the worst.
Yeah, exactly. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and it's a beautiful story. Absolutely. And I think that's about. I think we've reached the end here to our Nightbreed special.
Yeah, I think the only other thing to say was in the director's cut, Narcissus dies, gets his head cut off by
Yes.
Decker. And then the theatrical cut, he's in the barn waiting for Boone.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess people liked Narcissus too much to have him lost. I can
Maybe
understand
it was
that.
a
Yeah,
consensus.
yeah.
Maybe it was a consensus
Mhm,
group thing. I
mhm,
don't know. But yeah,
mhm,
absolutely. Um. So yeah, thank you all. If anyone who tuned in, thank you for joining us tonight.
mhm.
This was a very special episode for Spaz and I. Um,
Yeah,
like I said, this is one
my
of our favorite
favorite Clive
movies,
Barker.
our favorite Clive
Mhm,
Barker movie, our favorite Clive Barker story,
mhm.
and we hope you I hope we've touched you a bit
Yeah.
with our retelling of this tale, and if you haven't seen the movie, I
Yeah.
highly recommend watching the director's cut. I mean, there is a
I would
theatrical.
recommend watching both. I
Yeah,
would
you
watch
can
both.
watch. Yeah, you can watch both. Like I said, I overall prefer the director's cut
I do
because
too.
you get all those subtleties and nuances that are not in the
Mhm,
theatrical cut, and you get more stuff. You get more scenes, get more
mhm.
monsters. So
And everybody loves more monsters. So yeah.
absolutely. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'd say overall watch the director's cut first, and then if you really want to, watch the theatrical cut. And then
No,
after
most
that, read the
definitely.
book. Read Cabal. It's a
Oh
fantastic
fuck!
book. Just read the
It's
book.
short.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
short.
even a
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
It's a novella. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I would call it a novella. It's short,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's worth it. It's a great read.
Absolutely. Can't recommend it enough. So on that note, Spaz, you got anything else you want to add or say?
Go out, and find some friends that will help you through the night. Get you through the night.
What a beautiful way to end this. And on
Mhm.
that note, we say goodnight, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Lots of love.